All right, troops, welcome to the Action Elite. My name is Owen, and I'm joined by my good friend John tonight. How are you?
How you doing?
Good, thank you. So, as you all know, there was an announcement yesterday about the Expendables 4 and some casting there. And so we're going to be just having a chat about that tonight, and then some of our casting ideas and, maybe some story ideas and things. But before we go on to the Expendables, I can't be bothered really doing a separate stream. So I wanted us to have a chat. This will only take a couple of minutes, so if anyone's thinking, wait a minute, this isn't what you said we're going to talk about. I just want to talk about Sweet Girl with Jason Momoa, which is recently on Netflix. This is a rare occasion where I posted 2 reviews on the site because they were polar opposites. You had Jonathan, who gave the movie 1 star, and then you, who gave it 3.5 stars, and then everyone was arguing back and forth.
I love the star conversations. That's exactly what I did.
Oh, yeah, well, job done. So I watched the movie, and I really enjoyed the first half. I even texted John, and I was like, "Oh, this is really good." Jason Momoa is good. I'm engaged in the story. It's kind of depressing, but I'm into it. Then the twist happened.
Yeah, you didn't like it.
It was all right. I'm just going to spoiler alert. If anybody hasn't seen Sweet Girl on Netflix, I'm about to go into major spoilers here, so you have been warned. So it was the dumbest twist I have ever seen in a movie ever. It's like,
fair enough.
There's only another movie which twists I hated, and that was Iron Man 3. It's kind of like that. Whenever your man wasn't the Mandarin, Trevor, I was like, oh. But this one, I'll tell you why this didn't work for me. Was she was annoying like from the start, so I just found her sort of annoying. I didn't care about her. I was emotionally involved in Jason Momoa's story.
Yes.
And then you took him out of it like that, and I was like, but that was the story I was engaged in. You've just taken that away from me. I don't give a shit about her. And I'm supposed to believe that this 13 or 14-year-old girl is going to be taking out all of these assassins and things like that. I was like, no. So speaking of which, the Mandarin twist, see Shang-Chi in The Legend of the Ten Rings, that is covered because I saw it yesterday and it was pretty entertaining. So Sweet Girl, if it were me, I would give it 2.5 stars, I think, because I enjoyed the first half. It was pretty solid. Yes, there was some shakiness to the action, but I've seen worse. It wasn't too bad. But it was from the twist onwards, I had totally tuned out. I was like, you've totally lost me from this story, so I will never watch it again. So those are my thoughts on Sweet Girl. So now on to our regularly scheduled entertainment, the Expendables 4. So, Ron, you're here. Let's see. Megan Fox, Barney's daughter, maybe, or their mission. Wonder if 50 Cent is the main villain. Have action stars like Tony Jaa and so on doing actual combat, or can he throw down some kicks and punches? Saying you're a terrible actor, Trevor. Are they going to bring back any of the new crew from Expendables 3? Okay, so here is what I think is going to happen. And John sort of planted the seeds of this idea where we think that this is going to be, because there's some confusion. We're like, wait, is this a spin-off or is this Expendables 4? So we think
Stallone started it because he said he said working title, A Christmas Story. So everybody was like, oh, okay. So so when he did that post, that's what happened.
And that was the problem. But he even said spin-off. He said it was a spin-off. So I was like, what? So we're all confused by that. He wasn't clear. So I don't know if there are 2 movies or if it's just one. If it is just the one, then what I think it is going to be is that maybe they'll bring back the young crew and Stallone will be leading them on a mission in the opening scene and they'll all die, including Stallone. I think Barney's fucked. And then they'll kill off the young ones, and then Lee Christmas might be out for revenge or something, and we'll see if if Statham brings in the new crew or whatever. So that's interesting. But yeah, it's a strange choice. Tony Jaa, yes, brilliant. Tony Jaa totally needs to be in these movies, and I was ecstatic to hear that. Megan Fox, no. That should be Cynthia Rothrock or Gina Carano. Cynthia Rothrock is the queen of martial arts. She's a legendary action star, and it's a disgrace that she hasn't been in it already.
Hell yeah.
Looks still fight, and she should be in it in some way. I mean, I would be putting Cynthia Rothrock. I'd be going in the straight to video stars. Billy Blanks and Don Wilson, and what would be cool? Have the villains Jeff and Michael Wincott, the two brothers, and have them play brothers. And then maybe John Travolta and Nicolas Cage and things like that in it. So there's so many sort of cool ideas they can do with it. I mean, they've never really done a particularly great story to any of the Expendables movies. I thought the first one had maybe the best story.
Mm-hmm.
But really, they're mostly just an excuse for carnage and one-liners, which is fine.
Yeah.
So, so you had a theory, so you go ahead.
I said, well, I agree with you 100%. I think and again, this is all speculation, people. It's like, comment, it's like, give us your ideas and stuff. But yeah, exactly. I think because Stallone he's kind of separating himself from it because it's been a while since the third one. And I think if he wanted to really do another one, he would have done it already, and fixed the problems of the third one. So I think he's doing it just because he's good to the fans. He's like, he knows what the fans want. He knows he needs to fix it from the third one. But yeah, I think he's passing the torch to Statham. And I think in the beginning, and I actually said that not only him, but I think Toll Road, Randy Couture is going to go on the mission with him. I think they're both going to die because they didn't mention anything about any of the others.
No Terry Crews or
Dolph Lundgren's going to be in it, but I think Dolph Lundgren's going to have a bigger part. So I think something's going to happen where it's just those two guys with, like you were saying, maybe some of the young crew, and they totally get annihilated, by. And they need a big bad villain. They need they need a Jean-Claude Van Damme-esque villain for this one, Mel Gibson, the third one, and everybody hates the third one, well, except for me. But it's like Mel Gibson he was still good. He was still good. He was. He brought the gravitas, but yeah, I think Statham's going to go on some revenge mission and he's going to gather in like a new crew, which is going to be like with Tony Jaa, and I think between now and when they start filming, you're going to hear a bunch of new names because Megan Fox and 50 Cent, everybody was just like, that can't be it. Yeah. I mean, that's the start.
It should be Michael Jai White, not 50 Cent. Like, why is it not Michael Jai White? I mean, it should totally be him.
That's I'm the like, thing. What? Everybody commented to me on my social sites. They're like, Michael J. White, I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm the biggest advocate. I mentioned when we did our Expendables broadcast, I was like, Michael J. White. I got the big picture of him from Triple Threat. It's like, absolutely, he needs to be in it. I think 50 Cent isn't going to – I think he's well, you know how in Stallone's Escape Plan movies, he was like the tech guy, like the computer guy? I think he's going to do something like that, or he's going to be a bad guy. He might be a bad guy. And
he was the initial choice for Terry Crews' character, but he didn't want to do it because he was focusing on his music career at the time. So therefore, Terry Crews was brought on board. There's no mention of Wesley Snipes coming back, is there?
No, not yet. Which sucks because I enjoyed him.
He's not doing anything else, is he? I mean, I'm not seeing him in much, so I hope he is back because I loved him in the third one.
And I loved how he was the knife guy like Statham, and they were having competitions and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty cool. And they need to bring him back and like have him be his. Where Ross Christmas was to Ross, they need Wesley Snipes, to Statham. You know what I'm saying? You need those two guys, and then of course Lundgren. Those three essential guys, and then whoever else they bring in besides Tony Jaa. We don't even know. Tony Jaa could be a bad guy. They just announced names. You have no idea what's going on. There's no plot. There's nothing, besides, the little things they've given us. So, but that's what I think. I think they're going to die, and he's going to pass the torch to Statham, and Statham's just going to go berserk and just, do what he does.
And be the knife before Christmas. Hey, G-Man. Hey, Wolverine 626. Ron. I like Wolverine's comment here. I watched Megan Fox's Rogue last night. Megan Fox looks sexy as hell holding those guns.
Okay, great. Can I say something there? That's what I said in my post. I did. Sue me. I liked it, and I thought she did good in it. But here's the thing: Philip Winchester was the best part of that movie, and I liked him from Strike Back. So I thought
he was great. Yeah.
He stole the show. But I thought Megan Fox, for being her first like legit action role, because she had never really done anything like that before, I thought she did pretty good with it. So if they do something like that with her, I'm fine with it. I mean, like you said, would you want Cynthia Rothrock? Yes. Would you want Michelle Yeoh? Yes. I mean, it's like Gina Carano. You can go on all day, but it's like if that's who they're going with, I'm like, she kind of did her thing in that movie, and I dug it a little bit. So it's like if not, or she could be a totally non-action role. You don't know. So it could be like Charisma Carpenter, in the first two. That was Statham's
She could be Lee Christmas's love interest or whatever, because it kind of has a type to go to.
Because all they said was she's the female lead. So it's like that's
whatever that is. Yeah, because there hasn't been a female lead in the rest of the franchise.
That's true.
As usual, Alex has the best comment. What kind of babbling bullshit is this? Under Siege quote. Yes, how about the greatest henchman of all time, Al Young? That would be great, but unfortunately, he's had a couple of strokes, I believe. So he can't do any action movies anymore. So he's retired now, unfortunately. But that would be awesome. I know. I mean, there's an almost endless list. I mean, Daniel Bernhardt for me, definitely. Michael Dudikoff, he's not been doing much. I would love to see him. Sho Kosugi, maybe even in some kind of mentor role or something. Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa. Bring back the Yakuza. The Yakuza were the bad guys in like every 90s action movie. So bring back that.
Yeah, we just talked about that.
Yakuza. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would even take Michael Bisping, who was in Triple Threat. He's kind of got that kind of like cocky ass attitude. That would be kind of cool too. It's like, but like you said, you can go on all day. Like Don the Dragon Wilson, the Wind Towers. I like Joe Taslim, who's pretty popular now because he was Sub-Zero.
Andrew Koji. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy has charisma up the ass, man. It's like he just he just oozes it. It's like
he's just so cool. Yeah.
Him with Tony Jaa, it's like forget about it. It's like that would be probably like the best thing ever. So
that was the problem with Snake Eyes, is that he was a more interesting character than Snake Eyes.
He was.
I'll admit it. Storm Shadow.
Yeah, they totally switched that around.
Are we taking bets in line? Christmas comes more than once a year. Well, I know they kind of used that in James Bond. The world's not enough, which is one of my favorite lines of dialogue from him.
Right. But I got so here. I'd even take this guy right now. It's like if you can see who he is. John Berthal.
The Punisher, yeah. Oh
yeah. I love John Berthal, so I would even take him in the Expendables right now. So
there's so many people that come in. Like I'm quite happy with them using sort of younger people and mix it in, but they have to be people who are action guys. And John Bernthal's actually he's the Punisher, so I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. So I would have
mentioned cameos. You want to see cameos. You just even like if they don't have a big role, just like plug in people like Easter eggs for us fans who know it. Like wink, wink. We're the ones that get it because we're the reason why these movies are made. So that would
I mean, I remember I did a fan fiction thing years ago when I first started the site. And it was Dream Team. It was Dream Team. It was called, and it was for the Expendables 3. And I wanted to have Clint Eastwood show up as Barney's dad.
That's an awesome idea.
And then have Chow Yun-fat as the bad guy. And it was going to be set in China or something, and it was just going to be awesome. And I can't remember what the story was, but I was going to have like Liam Neeson in it as well. Liam Neeson could be in it. I would have no issue with him. He's an action guy. So I'd agree with that. Let's see. Do you think they'll ever explain away Charisma Carpenter's character? Yeah, I know she kind of just like disappeared.
She floated out.
She checked up with some other guy whenever he's away and like on business or whatever, and that's who she was. What about Pierce Brosnan? There was a rumor that Pierce was supposed to be in. Was it the second or third one? And then I can't remember, but that never happened. But I would love to see him.
Well, here's the thing: like everybody wants all these people to be in it. They get through their kids, spin up. It's like not all these people have their schedules like lined up to make an Expendables movie.
Oh, I know. Clint would be amazing, and Chow Yun-fat would be the best. Agreed.
Does Chow Yun-fat still act? Is he still acting?
I think he does, but I think it's just mainly in his homeland. I know he.
Yeah, I know he gave away his fortune to charity. He had like $714 million or something.
Yeah, I was like, that's literally one of the most amazing human beings ever left. No, right? He's one of the coolest people on screen, but then he's a freaking saint at the same time. And I was like, good
so maybe he needs to make a movie because he needs some money. I don't know.
So I mean, what's the director of the Expendables called again? This new one?
Pardon if I don't. Scott Waugh,
Oh,
W-A-U-G, but he's a stunt guy, which is good. I'm like, I said that in my post. I'm like, ooh, because I remember him because he did Need for Speed, which wasn't the greatest film, but I mean, he's from that world, so like if they're getting this guy to do it, I think that bodes well for it bodes well for the action set pieces, because I think he's gonna, he's gonna understand how to shoot this. So let's hope. Let's pray.
Yeah. Oh, of course, Mark Dacascos. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Love him. Maybe even have Keanu Reeves as
Matt
the villain.
Zhang. Yeah, you could go. Yeah, exactly. But do you remember, there was also people were saying they would love to see Barney Ross's mercenary team go up against another mercenary team that was maybe led by Mark Dacascos or something like that. So you had the A team, good guy Expendables, and then you had the bad guy Expendables with the stars over here, and then you'd have this all these separate fights going on at the same time with individuals taking each other on and stuff like that. So
I remember. A couple of years ago, I remember Dwayne Johnson said he would love to be in it, but as a bad guy, and it would be R-rated. And I was like, that would be awesome because you could have a Statham versus Dwayne Johnson proper fight at the end, rather than sort of
and I think Johnson did Luke Hobbs and Shaw, but I think he needs to come back to his badass roots a little bit. He's been doing too much. Too many Disney movies. I think he knows that sooner or later he's going to have to do
good movies.
Who knows? You could turn on the computer tomorrow and be like Dwayne Johnson. That's why it's fun, because now they're definitely going to be shooting this. It's like ooh, let's wait. Who they get? Because I said in my post like this can't be it. I mean, there's got to be more coming. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Because if you go with Megan Fox and 50 Cent, no offense to them, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's we need way more than that to get us to go see this movie.
Oh, they will, because they knows that they dropped the ball with the third movie going for the PG-13 rating after he promised us, this is going to match the Raid. No, it didn't. So, but that's what they need to do is. For me, I would get Gareth Evans to direct or something, because I've been watching Gangs of London, and I'd actually forgotten just how awesome his action scenes are, just how visceral they are. He sticks throws a pint glass in the guy's face and then it's going off the counter.
That's the thing. You got a lot of badass Brits. You got Zara Pithian. She's badass. You got Lee Charles. He's badass. It's you got all these
Strange.
Who's doing Rupture? Yeah, he looks badass in that.
Yeah.
So
Stu Bennett.
You got
Vinnie Jones needs to be in it. You got to have Vinnie.
We could go here all night. Just coming up.
There was a guy I walked past in the street the other night, and I was like, "You should be in the Expendables." Pam Grier, yes, that would be cool. Problem is, will Stallone let the director direct? No matter who directs, we all know Stallone calls the shots, so you get a ball, whatever it's called, and it's going to be a Stallone film. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Stallone did the first one, and it was the best. He did Rambo, so it's he I think when he directs, that's a good thing. Because he knows I don't know, was that his decision to do the PG-13, or was he handcuffed by the studios to do that?
Probably I think that's the studio. That reeks of studio. It's just a bean counters talking, I think. I was oh no, we have to bring in the kids. And I was no, fuck the kids, make this violent. I want heads and vices and things exploding and people exploding.
And that's how you know. That's how you know Hollywood execs don't get it, because that's not why these movies are made. It's exactly what you said. Fuck, no offense, but it's it's our generation that Stallone made this movie for. It's the first one. It's I remember when the first one was coming out, and a lot of people I was talking to didn't even know half of the people that were in the movie. I'm like, whatever. It's it's not for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Every one of these, he says it'll be the best action movie, what the fans want, blah, blah, and everything. Yeah, I know. To me, I got to put my hand up and say, so far, I think the Expendables franchise is a best opportunity. I think it has its moments, and it is entertaining, but I don't think it's ever quite reached the epicness it could have and should have with all the talent involved. I know you're probably balancing a lot of egos and everything else, but I just think that there's still one truly great one to come out, and get rid of the CG blood and the CG explosions and go back to like the real thing, the grit. And even then, it doesn't need to have a huge budget. Maybe go for like a lower budget and just have more hand-to-hand combat and smaller scale action scenes, and then just maybe have the explosive finale or whatever. But the problem is you've already set the precedent with the previous movies where it's like huge explosions. I mean, like the opening scene of the second movie is incredible.
Yes.
So,
but it's like so, like what you're saying. It's like it. I mean, how many lower budgeted B movies do we see though? That like you remember Sergio H. Santiago, who used to do all those movies back in the '80s, and that
he did the Expendables.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that movie. I remember when it came out on VHS. It's like he didn't have a big budget. But that shit, those movies had like the most action. It was like wall to wall action. It's like
exploding huts everywhere. There was huts everywhere exploding. Nameless people getting exploded and whatever else. And I was like, this is awesome. So
it's like, yeah, he hated the Vietnamese because the Viet Cong got decimated in those movies.
Yeah, I think everybody did. Yeah. Off topic, I saw someone say Shang-Chi had the best martial arts in a film since The Raid.
Take this one, Owen. I haven't seen it. So.
It certainly has its moments. There's a fight between Tony Leung and somebody, but there's some wuxia in it, so there's wire work and everything. It's almost more like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But like the first half, it does have some good fight scenes. It is quite fluid, but pretty much the majority of fight scenes are all enhanced by CG. Particularly the end, where it's just a bunch of monsters and things, and I kind of tuned out by then, and I was like, this guy's like a kung fu master. I want to fucking see him do kung fu. I don't need to see dragons and shit. So,
and I read that in your review, and I got pissed off because I'm like, it's just Suicide Squad all over again. It's like that's what you and I were complaining about in that one. So
yeah,
it sounds
just
like
wanted it to be more grounded, and it wasn't, because I was really enjoying the first half of it. And I was like, well, this is pretty good actually. It's kind of different. It doesn't feel that much like a Marvel movie. And then there's a little creature in it called Morris.
Who?
Morris. Morris, which belongs to a character. I'm not going to say who the character it is because it's a returning character. But I was like, what the actual fuck is this? I was like, I just want to watch some kung fu, and you brought in all these fantasy creatures and everything, and I'm like, all right, I'm done. So that was a shame. But yeah, no, The Raid has the best fight scene since The Raid. The Night Comes for Us. And as man says here, whoever says Shang-Chi is the best martial arts hasn't seen any Hong Kong. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's tons of better movies. I mean, Shang-Chi is pretty decent for a Marvel movie. You kind of know you're going to get some CG.
Well, it's Marvel doing martial arts, so I know what I mean. Even before I read your review, I knew what to expect from it. So
yeah, I mean, you kind of just know it's sort of like a template. There's enough different stuff in it to be entertaining, and I did enjoy it. Tony Leung, who stole the show, obviously, just his mere presence makes everything great.
That's what I'm excited about, is because I do Hong Kong movies, so I'm all excited for Tony Leung.
Yeah. I'd love to see a scene where there's a knock on the door. Dolph says, "What do you want?" Matthias Hughes walks in and says, "I come and beat." Yes, I would love that. Matthias Hughes needs to show up. Absolutely.
See, that's if they do that, then the people who made this movie knew exactly what the fuck they were doing. If they do something like that, it's like,
and that's the thing, is that you need. They keep going for like the young directors and whatever, and I was like, no, it should be John McTiernan or one of the guys. Like, what the fuck is he doing now? He's not doing it. It needs to be someone who's directed one of these movies, or several of these movies in the past, who has a track record. And although he wrote, The Predator and Iron Man 3, which were tits, Shane Black is born to write stuff like this, and Shane Black could, do a pretty good script maybe. So we'll see. Extreme was pretty good too. I've never seen it. You've seen it, haven't you?
I did, and actually, my friend Anthony Francis did the review for it. I think later on I'm going to do one because it is an enjoyable movie.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe I'll give it a watch at some point, and then we can just do a chat about that. Because I prefer talking about things rather than writing right now. So,
well, you're also you have your big interview with what's her name, Masumi from Yakuza. Yeah. So I was all excited for that movie, and then Anthony's like, "Hey, I did a review for it." I'm like, "Hey, thanks." I'm like, so now I got. I'm like, I wanted to watch that. It's like I'm still gonna watch it, and I think maybe like later on we can talk about it or something, or I'll do a video, or something.
Yes,
about it.
we will. Yeah.
I think that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, like I think like if somebody does a review for a movie already, I think I'm gonna do a video one like later on. It's like, I got to get my thoughts on it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, whenever someone does a review for me, like, "Oh, can I review this?" I'm like.
It's like, okay. It's like, all right.
This is my website. I want to do my stuff on. I don't want to share. Whatever.
Yeah. Owen doesn't share.
This best fight scenes in Sweet Girl. Oh yes. Yeah. Boy, with that twist.
Now let me just explain. Like, just to go back to Sweet Girl for a second. I only gave it the half star more. Like I said, I was going to give it 3. Then I gave it 3.5 because of the twist. I didn't say I necessarily liked it a lot. I just said that like anytime the filmmaker makes me do a double take and be like, oh, I'm like, you got me, So it's like that was my explanation of it. I mean, now I even said to my wife when I was watching it with her, I was like, then they're going back and showing her take out these mercs,
No, to me, it was just insulting my intelligence at that point. Then I was like, "Fuck off! I don't believe that at all." This wee girl is going to take out all these assassins and everything. I was like, "Nope." So shite girl. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to Expendables. And yeah, I'm ecstatic that Tony Jaa is going to be in it. It'd be cool to see Iko Uwais and even Tiger King. Just bring back everybody from Triple Threat and stick in this.
Well, that's the thing. Like you got Yahan Ruyan from the raid. You can put in there. That guy is like a freaking Energizer bunny. It's like because he was in the Skyline films, and like that would be even good. You got
Frank Grillo needs to be the villain.
What's that?
Frank Grillo needs to be the villain. There you go. That's right.
Yes, just like Wolf Warrior 2. Yeah, absolutely. He rocked. Yeah. Wu Jing, Jia Jia Yanin. You got all these Hong Kong people you could just make a name. Because maybe like with Tony Jaa, I don't know, like they maybe should, like you were saying, like do something Asian, like Yakuza or something like that, and just bring in like all these badass, Asian action stars. That would be a switch from what they've done in the past. It's like now it's, and who knows, like Donnie Yen could jump on board. I mean, I know he's doing John Wick right now, but they're not going to start filming this till October, so you never know. He might be able to slip in there, and do something.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be someone of his caliber as the main villain. Although maybe they need to go someone who is, old school, but I can't really think of too many people who would be, to make an entertaining fight scene from that era now, because they'll be falling apart and throwing their wheelchairs at each other or something.
Well, that's why I'm pissed off. Like I know I enjoyed Scott Adkins in the second one, but they blew him as an opportunity because now they could have totally put him in this one and like did something really spectacular with it.
Yeah.
Or hey, have him come back as a twin brother, Hector's twin brother. I don't give a shit. It's like
Van Damme, or like bring him back as Claude Villan, and I'm like, I'd be down for that. Just if you got Van Damme back in it, I'm happy. That would be awesome.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, Stephen Chow, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and Jeff Speakman, yes, absolutely.
Well, Speakman's got he's got his health issues and stuff like that, so he's doing this Kempo thing. So.
Yeah, the twist in Sweet Girl lost me much like the twist in My Bloody Valentine. Yes,
I know. Like I said, sue me though. I still enjoyed it. I'm sorry.
What was I going to say? I keep getting distracted because we keep talking about the different movies. Steven Seagal needs to come in, and Jackie Chan. Those guys. Maybe Jackie Chan should be the villain.
Do you think he'd be a good villain though? I mean,
because he's never really played one before, has he?
No, I don't think. I mean, The Foreigner, he was the closest to a bad guy because, like, when his daughter got killed, he kind of went off the reservation, So he was kind of like.
Oh no, he was a good guy. The IRA were the bad guys.
Yeah.
Because basically, Pierce Brosnan was Jerry Adams in that movie.
Right, but what I'm saying is the way his character was for like the rest of the movie, I mean, I like that movie because that was serious Jackie Chan, and
the best thing he's done in years. Yeah,
I think we need more serious Jackie Chan. So
yeah, I've never been a fan of the slapstick comedy. I know I get a piece of that.
Me neither. Yeah.
I love, he's an amazing action star, and I love, respect him and all that stuff. But there's just a lot of his movies, and I'm like, like particularly, Kung Fu Yoga and stuff like that. And I'm like, this sucks. So, he's better than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it always has never happened. Yeah, his fans would lose it if you play a bad guy. It's a non-star. Yeah, I know that's the problem. But no, I mean, I would just like him to do something good because, like I said, The Foreigner was his last good movie, and I would like to see him do, something decent. And Vanguard, that's the best thing about a lot of these movies is Brahim. I'd love to see Brahim in
Brahim. Yep.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's a good stuntman. Or I would take Tiger Shroff. I mean, do you see that guy fight? Holy shit. He's like Scott Adkins on steroids, which if you could say something like that. But I was watching a demo reel with him, and he did a jump spinning hook kick, and the elevation that he got was like, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, so I would even take him in the Expendables movie right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I like that. Vernon Wells is the villain, or one of them. Yes, Vernon Wells. Scott Adkins and such a waste.
But we still got to see the Statham Adkins fight, even though it was only 2 minutes long. But it still was Adkins fighting Statham. I'm sorry.
Even Scott was disappointed with that though, and
absolutely.
But they didn't have enough time, I think, to do really what they want. There's like time and budget and everything. So
well, then they were filming the scene with the tennis guy, and they said flat out that took away from their fight, which I don't understand. It's like you just know that they didn't understand what the filmmakers or the other people behind it just didn't understand what the hell was going on. Because if you take away from them to put this guy in it, that makes no sense whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. But also for this one, I want to make it, in the jungle.
Yes.
To me, like I need to see it in the jungle where they're fighting like mercenaries or shit, and then it just feels like I always think sort of the template for this is like Delta Force 2. Remember the end, and there's like all the huts, exploding huts, and shooting all the henchmen and everything. And I was like, that's all I want to see. Just literally make it like a Sergio Santiago movie.
Yes.
Like the Expendables or any of that, where it's just shit exploding constantly, nameless goons being executed, and conveniently placed barrels everywhere which explode regularly.
But I will say this: like, if our theory is correct, and Stallone, does bite the bullet on this, what I think he's going to go down spectacularly. His death scene is going to be just like tremendous on so many levels. So, like, it's going to be like the ultimate fuck you. Oh my God!
Gary Busey and his son Jake. Actually, it should be like a father and son duo. That would be awesome. Actually, I'd love that. Gary Busey totally needs to be in these movies.
Oh my God! Nicolas Cage. I mean, he needs to be in this. I mean,
Travolta. Travolta as the villain would be good, but I mean, he's not going to last 3 seconds in a fight with these guys. It has to be someone who's like a physical threat. That's why I think Dwayne Johnson would be perfect. I mean, he's huge, and you could maybe have to have like Statham and Dolph have to face off against him at the end or something.
Well, that's the thing. You can have your Johnson villain, but then you can have the guy behind it. The suit guy. Like they did with Eric Roberts, but only better. And I think Nicolas Cage would totally like make that even better, with his performance.
And he needs to utterly freak out at various points in true Nicolas Cage fashion. Just start screaming for no reason and go bug-eyed or whatever the fuck it wants to do.
You got it. Oh my God. That would be gold. That would be box office gold. It's like if they knew.
Or
they should be watching
the brains behind it all.
What's that?
You make John Malkovich the brains behind it all and Con Air reunion.
Well, that guy just can act. He just can act the shit out of anything. What's that one movie he's coming out with, The Survivor? Right? The Survivors. Yeah, with Jeff. Yeah, he's the bad guy in it. I'm like, I'm totally gonna watch that. I'm like, I want to see this.
That looks awesome.
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. Just the trailer. Yes,
so did I. Posted the trailer before the start that Survive the Game with Bruce Willis. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I watched it and I was like, okay. I was like, so it's not surviving the game and it's not survive the night. And I was like, oh, okay.
But like Nicolas Cage, like just like doing his thing, like yelling at somebody at some point would just Carl Weathers,
Yeah, Jesse Ventura. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, Michael Ironside. Yes. Basically, just bring in the cast from Extreme Prejudice. Have Walter Hill direct, and just make it
Nick Nolte, yeah,
Nick Nolte just screaming at everybody, as only he can. Nathan Jones and
Martin Ford.
Yeah,
Martin Ford is a freaking freak in nature, man. I'm like, he friended me on Facebook. I was like, wow, that's cool, and I just see his Facebook posts all the time, and he's just like this. It's like, oh my god,
he's got his like mental giant. He's got like his family and everything.
Yeah, he's got a little baby girl. I mean, it's so awesome. Like, see him acting with her like this. It's like, wow. It's like, and she's probably like, Daddy. It's like, we're all like, holy shit.
Yeah. The question is, actually, sorry, Ron, I'm so sorry. You posted a bunch of comments. I never got to respond because they're so many. Would you rather see Willis, Rourke, or Grammer return as a recruiter, etc.? I would like Mickey Rourke to come back. I hate that he didn't come back. Tool, whenever he does a little speech in the first one, as we were saying before, that's like the most emotional scene of the entire trilogy, and it's the best piece of acting. I would love to see.
Well, that's the thing. If Stallone gets killed, he should be there, like when they're mourning him. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, hope to see Chuck Norris's character return and join the team despite working alone. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
The only problem is Norris is my dad's age. He's like 82. I mean, he's getting up there. It's like, love him, but it's like...
Unless he doesn't maybe even need to have any action scenes, just, talk. And, he hands out the mission. Here's your order or something, yeah. So, John, I love the third one. There's so much great action. Oh, there you go. Second was best, I think. And, of course, they kill off Billy. Oh, they kill off a Billy? Yeah, because we were talking about how they always kill off someone called Billy.
Yeah.
That's true. The insurance for that movie will be through the roof. Yeah. Terry Crews gives one not an action star. Yeah. Michael Jai White and Wesley Snipes, please.
Well, Terry Crews has a problem with what's his name with Millennium Films. I forget his name, but he brought a lawsuit against them.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, he's not doing any more Expendable movies. Yeah. No worries. He's not going to be in this one.
Is Arnie even going to be back for this one? I mean, they haven't announced, but he probably will in some capacity.
I think that's going to be a 13th hour type of thing. Yeah. I think they're kind of keeping it tight-lipped, but I would think that they would bring him back. He'd probably want to come back. I mean, why not? And plus he probably wouldn't be in it that much. It'd probably be like an extended cameo, like it's been like.
Yeah. Yeah, because this is sort of, like this one, I think would definitely be the last hurrah, definitely.
But what about this? Okay, let's say, okay, so it's Ross, Trench, Toll Road, like what if like Trench 2 goes down in flames, and then it's like all this shit happens at the beginning of the movie, and the fans are just in the audience going, "Oh my god, what happened?"
Avi Lerner, yeah.
Yes, yeah, I think that was what it was. Yeah, he brought. Yeah, I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, it was ugly, and he's not going to be anymore.
President Clinton, I agreed. It's funny. That was the president. Do you remember that from Delta Force 2? With James P. Ryan, wasn't that his name?
Yeah. That was the president. He blew his stack. Yeah, absolutely. I love that scene.
It was amazing acting. But the best moment ever for him was in Avenging Force in the opening scene where the guy's being hunted in the woods and then the camera pans up and there he is wearing a mask, smoking a pipe in a tree. And you're like, what the fuck's he doing in a tree, smoking a pipe, wearing a mask?
Or then after he strangles the guy in the water, he's just he's like screaming for his guys. He's just like screaming, like at the top. I'm like, why is he screaming? It's like,
oh, I love that movie.
That's classic.
That's only in the Terminator franchise. I have to get these new drapes.
But yeah, like I mean. That's definitely not the end of the casting. I mean, that was just the initial announcement because there's no way Megan Fox. And again, nothing wrong to them. It's like I'm sure they're wonderful people, but it's like action fans need way more than what they're selling right now. Like Tony Jaa by himself, he's Tony Jaa, but it's like everybody and their mother wants like 10 others to show up in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, we need an entire other team of people, like a rival.
That's what I was
team,
saying.
and that's what I want to see. And that's how you can just bring in, as many people as possible. But I think maybe what the plan is that maybe Stallone is trying to cut down the team to make it smaller, so that it's maybe going to be a bit more of an intimate story. Not that really needs much of a story.
Well, here's the thing. I think it's going to be Expendables 4, but then it's going to branch off into the spin-off with Christmas. So I think this is why it has to be epic, because it's going to be the big finale for the Expendables before they go into like a different direction. And again, this is just speculation. I could be totally talking on my ass. I have no idea. But it's like, this is what I've just been thinking about since yesterday when I did, when I was at Dave & Buster's with my family, and I was like, and I brought it up on my phone. I went over to my wife. I'm like, Tony Cha. It's like my mind's been running rapid ever since. So.
Oh, I know. And that's the thing. I mean, there are times whenever I'm like, will I keep the Action Elite going? Are they still going to make any more type of films that we're interested in? We just announced the Expendables 4. Woohoo! The Action Elite will continue going for another year. So
at least one more month.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when's the Expendables out? What, next year?
Yeah, it's going to be 2022. So they start filming in October. So I'm going to say mid to later 2022, probably. I'm going to say late summer, maybe. That would be a good release date.
Yeah.
August.
Expendables 5, Wham! Last Christmas.
But I'm a big Jason Statham fan. So if Stallone's going to pass the torch, it's Lee Christmas is the man to do it with. It's and he can bring it. So absolutely, I have no problem with that.
They need to go to an athletic competition in the fictional country of Parmesan.
You know what? They should go on a mission to Valverde. They should totally bring it back.
Yeah, they need to bring in Valverde. Yeah,
back to the 80s.
Yeah, Iko Uwais from the Raid.
Iko Uwais.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, Iko Uwais, because again, he was in Mile 22, which I liked, and I thought he was enjoyable in it. But yes, they didn't use him the way they should have, and definitely not in Snake Eyes. So the next time Iko Uwais does a Western movie, they gotta freaking use him right and do exactly what he does in his other movies over in the East. So that's all I gotta say. Because his time's running out over here. I mean, us, when he makes his Indonesian movie, like The Night Comes, when he does these types of movies, he's phenomenal. But then he's making these American movies. Like he was in Stuber, and he had the stupid hair and was kind of goofy and everything. Yeah. And I'm like, come on, man. It's like, this is Iko Uwais.
They're like that with Tony Jaa as well. Don't give them ideas. They'll do that. No, it won't be Kevin Hart. It'll be Ruby Rose. Just wait. They'll cast Ruby Rose. Just wait.
Now, this is just kind of being funny, but they should have Robert Bronzy come in as Charles Bronson.
Yeah, actually have Robert Bronzy show up. And just dub him over using Charles.
What's his name? Paul Kersey. It's like, of course it is. That would be awesome. Oh my God.
I would like that. Yeah, and call the character Murphy. Murphy's Law and make don't fuck with Murphy. So yeah, I would.
Dude, I know and here's another one. I was just talking about him because I was watching Uncommon Valor the other day, which is one of my favorite freaking movies. I know he's up there, but Red Brown. I love Red Brown, and I love
Red Brown.
Action.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he still looks good. Like I see him on Facebook, and he still looks like he's in his late 60s, I think. But it's like fuck it. It's like put Red Brown in with his scream. He had the action scream, I call it. Anytime he was firing a gun, and he's oh my God. Best thing ever. I told my wife there was this guy in the 80s. His name was Red Brown, and he had one of the best screams ever. She's like, "What are you talking about?" And I showed it to her. She's like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "Right?" It's like this is the best thing ever. I would even take Red Brown right now. Oh my God, the Blaster's Last Stand. That's my favorite part of that movie when he's on the bridge and he's screaming. He's like 5, 6, unbelievable. And I love it. It's the best part of the movie. It's like so.
Yeah. I remember.
Your Strike Commando. Come on, that's his best movie ever. That's
Strike Commando as well. Yeah. Do you remember him whenever he did an episode of Miami Vice?
Yes.
And it was like Bikers from Hell or something that was called. And it was like him and two guys. It was fucking maybe my favorite episode of Miami Vice, season 3. So yeah. Oh well, definitely goes without saying. Perfect villain would have been Rutger Hauer. Yes.
I know.
God rest him, but yeah, I would have loved to have seen him. The annoying thing was
Okay.
he was supposed to be coming to the Toronto Fan Expo, and he died a month before it. And I was like, no. It's like, check out.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. It really
Oh,
is. It's like,
I know.
because he was still making movies, so it's like, that's a shame,
I know.
It's like, it's like when they're gone, it just sucks because you're just sitting there thinking like, we'll never see him in another movie again. It's like, yeah, you got all these other movies and everything, but it's like, there'll never be another one. It's like,
I still miss Patrick Swayze.
Yeah. Oh, we just because we were watching on Comet Valor, and again, my wife hadn't seen it because I'm trying to introduce her to all these movies I grew up with, and sometimes I win her over, and sometimes I don't. But I won her over with On Comet Valor, and as soon as he came on screen, she's like, "Is that Patrick Swayze?" I'm like, "It is," and that was one of his first roles, And then we're watching it, and I said the same thing. I'm like, he's one of the ones I still can't believe is dead. I can't. To this day, I'll never be like, he's dead. Yes.
Original Cap.
Yeah, he rode on the motorcycle with the motorcycle helmet.
That's right.
So.
Now, I was saying to John before we went live, if anybody remembered the Expendables, and it was like a little commercial, and it was like a little 8-bit video game or whatever. And I know I'm going to damage my throat again by doing it because I couldn't stop coughing for like 5 minutes after, but I was like, that's just like, Expendables! Oh, hell yeah! And I was like, that was the greatest commercial ever. And that guy needs to narrate the Expendables movie.
Yep.
Oh, yes. The Boss, Stone Cold.
Oh.
Yes, absolutely.
See, and again, it's like people say this stuff, and it's like, you're right. How did I not think of the Boss? And it's the funny thing is, well, he's actually like, he found God and everything. Did you see on YouTube? Not to go off tangent here, but he did a show. They did a showing of Stone Cold, and he did a Q&A after it. And he was saying it was interesting. I wanted you to watch it because he's talking about how when he was doing Stone Cold, his football career ended, and he was depressed as hell. Like there was a certain scene, I can't remember which one he was talking about, where they were filming it. That's the day he found out his football career was over, and he just said he almost couldn't even continue making the film. And he said to this day he didn't know what the hell he was doing making that movie, but watching it, he thought he'd done 5 before it. It's like, I didn't even know any of this. So it was, and then later on, he's saying how, if you would have told me that I'd be here, I wouldn't be playing football anymore, but I have this wonderful family and I found, God and everything, which is great. I would have told you were full of shit, but here I am, and, and I love it. So yeah, but I think, he should be one that if anybody deserves a comeback, it's the Boz, because he did Stone Cold, but then he does some other good B movies, but he never got the opportunity. He was amazing.
And he needs to come on, and whenever he comes on, someone needs to say, "Go with God," and he goes, "God's going to sit this one out," just like the Punisher.
Absolutely. Or, and I just love Stone Cold. He's like, "You got anything to say?"
Stone
yeah.
Lance Henriksen and Arnold Vosloo, I'd love to see them show up in these movies. Kurt Russell needs to get over himself. Yeah.
Randall. Oh my God.
I never meant to hurt my
feelings.
Am I the only person who felt bad for Randall in Hard Target? He gets his ears cut off and everyone else.
He gets his head blown off.
You fat fuck. It's just all I think of in that scene. Yeah.
Russell needs to get over.
Yeah, I agree.
We talked about that.
I know. Enough of the Fast and Furious shit and do this franchise instead. Clint Howard. Actually, he'd be a great nerds like henchman or whatever. James Remar. Absolutely. Government Contact 15. Yeah. Stone Cold was awesome.
Stone Cold was awesome. Yes.
No, it's funny. One Man's Justice in the US is the much better title in the UK of One Tough Bastard. Yes. And that's Brian Bosworth, and I have that, and it's not as good as Stone Cold, but it's up there. It's one of my favorites, and One Tough Bastard has to be one of the best names for an action movie ever.
What I like about it is he's doing hand to hand. He's doing close quarters combat in that movie, and he was really good in it. Because that's what I was I was big into the karate and teaching it and everything, so I was eating it all up. And I was like, the Boss is doing karate. That's this is the best. I love that movie. It's amazing. And Bruce Payne. Bruce Payne from Passenger 57. How can you not love that guy? I mean, he was a great bad guy because he was such a sleazy dipshit.
He never needs to say much. He just has really evil eyes, and he always just made for a good villain. Actually, that should be that a stream we do soon is Stone Cold versus One Tough Bastard. So I think that would be just great fun just to talk about them.
Yeah.
So maybe do that soon.
Yeah, but the Boz, yeah, he never got a fair shake. I mean, so he needs. I think it'd be great to see him do something like this just for the fun of it.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. There's people who are like no longer with us who should be in these movies, like Brian James. I love Brian James. He was just like that guy in like every 80s and 90s movie. Actually, maybe James Belushi, or Red Heat.
Well, that's the thing. Like with Brian James, he's one of the ones I call the unsung heroes of action cinema. It's like, we know who he is, but like, mainstream doesn't know who he is, and that's a shame because he was a great character actor. He played bad guy, and I loved him in Showdown as the vice principal. Hey, meathead. Yeah, I think he wants to take it. Hey, meathead, your parents have any kids who ever lived? I'm like, I love that. That's the best thing ever.
Ed O'Ross was another guy who was like in all these like 80s, and he was like Red Heat and everything as well, and 48 Hours. Actually, Eddie Murphy could be in this franchise. That's not something that comes up, but he's been in tons of movies. Metro, I like. Beverly Hills Cop, 48 Hours.
Like when they talk about people going into movies, or like when Ben Affleck was announced as Batman, everybody lost their shit. Oh my god, that's fucking horrible. It's like I always wait till I see footage. I always say that in my post. I'm like, I always hold out until I see footage. Once I see footage, then I make my decision. But Eddie Murphy, that's one thing. Like people would be like, what? And I'd be like, until I see footage, I'll make my decision. So, but yeah, he could do serious as well as comedy. So yeah, absolutely.
Tango and Cash, yes.
Yes.
Just get the horror flick Mom. I don't think I've seen that. Yeah, I think we've gone through pretty much every actor that's ever lived. Obviously,
yeah. If we left anybody out, we apologize.
Yeah, please don't take offense. Yeah.
That's like I can look around my office now at all my Blu-ray and DVDs that I have in my office. Oh, wait a minute. Here, I got another one. Johnny Messner. You know who Johnny Messner is?
Yes, Johnny Messner. He's got one of the coolest voices in the business. And he's one of these guys who is in a lot of straight-to-DVD movies but deserves to be in more, because he was in Tears of the Sun, I remember.
I love Tears of the Sun. That's my favorite Bruce Willis movie. I'm sorry. I know everybody loves Die Hard. I love that movie. I love Navy SEAL movies, and that's my favorite Navy. Well, besides Act of Valor, that's my favorite Navy SEAL movie.
Henry Silva, yeah, God, well, he must be a fair old age by now.
He's like in his 90s now, I think. Yeah, he's old. Sorry, unfortunately,
he terrified me as a kid. I remember watching Above the Law, and he's the bad guy in that. I remember he just really creeped me out in that.
And not only that, he was in Code of Silence with Chuck Norris. He was a dirtbag in that movie too. Yep.
Yeah, and then wasn't he in Battlestar Galactica as well? Series.
Yeah.
Sid Haig would have been a great ad. Yeah, he would have. Yeah. And that laugh Brian James has in House 3. I haven't seen that in years. I used to love the House movies.
I only saw the first one, I think, with William Catt. Was William Catt in it? The Greatest American Hero?
That's right.
Yeah, he was in the first one. Yeah.
Oh, of course, Michael Biehn. Yeah, that goes without saying.
Oh, that goes. Oh, yeah. Again, I feel bad that I forgot about Michael Biehn, but it's like we're talking about all these people. It's like somebody gets lost.
I mean, if they want more women in it, Linda Hamilton, Sigourney Weaver, the actual. Oh
yeah, like that's legends. The thing. Like, yeah, we're all talking about guys. There's all these girls women we could be talking about too. It's just like, like I was saying, Gigi Yanin, she's amazing in fight scenes. Yeah. So I mean, you can go on and on, with all of this. We could do like part 2, part 3, part 4. It's like still building up games. Oh
yeah, I know. So wait, there's that guy I saw that time. So there's tons of people who should be in it. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to see it in the jungle. Definitely, like I was saying, have some huts or something. Rescue some hostages or something. Want to
just like where it looks all humid and everything, and
I want it to be like that. Maybe make it less of a parody, because I always find that there's sort of like, particularly the second one for me. That's why the first one is my favorite and will probably always be my first one, because I like the tone of it. The second one went too much into parody for me towards the end. Like, what's next? Rambo? And I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, they were going in too much with the one-liners.
That was too far.
It was like one-line. It was like one-liner central. It's like, okay, it's like we get it.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love one-liners, and I still want to keep the one-liners, but also
now when they're shoved down your throat, though, it's like when
Yeah.
they're shoving it down your throat, you're like, all right.
But we need to have some really graphic, over-the-top bad guy kills, though. I mean, I thought Scott's
Well,
death in the second was one of the best.
we have to,
the
like-
helicopter plays.
We have to have like the Rocket Man in The Rock. You know who you are? You're the Rocket Man. It's like we have to. That's like that, where guys get blown up by by missiles coming at them. It's like the big
Or
it's like
going on combine harvesters. You're discharged.
harsh. Yeah.
Still my favorite bad guy death of all time. But also,
Oh my god.
I like ridiculous deaths as well. Like one of my favorite deaths is "You're fired" from the end of True Lies, when he fires him in a helicopter. He's hanging from like his braces because he's hanging from the plane, the missile, and fires into the helicopter. It's just so stupid, and I was like, I love that. It's amazing.
One of my favorites is Invasion USA. It's time, and he swings around, he just blows them up with a law rocket. I love that.
Amazing. Lucy Lawless, yeah. Maria Conchita Alonso, yeah. Rest in pieces. I'm trying to think about other women that could be in it. Definitely cast Gina Carano just to piss off as many people as possible.
See, that's the thing. It's like Gina Carano has her opinions. Okay, she's allowed to have opinions,
but they're different from other people's, John.
I know. It's like, fuck yeah, you can't. If you disagree with me, fucking shit's on, man. It's like, but yeah, I don't have a problem with Gina Carano. I'm like, do I agree with some of the stuff she says? I'm not gonna say, but I was like, I'm not here to think of her opinions or her views on things. I'm here to watch her kick ass. It's like I don't care what she does in her real life.
Yeah, a lot of rocket deaths through the 80s and 90s. Yeah, there were, and yet still not enough.
Not enough. You always can think more.
Yeah, Cary Tagawa. I would love to see him as like a huge villain role, and or maybe even have him as a good guy and like working with Dolph or something where if I will throw back.
That is a good idea because Hiroyuki Tagawa was always a bad guy. Now I know there's like little somewhere he's a good guy, but he needs to be a good guy. It's just like just to be like
twist on his head. But also like if he's like a partner of Dolph Lundgren or something, like they go on a mission or something or whatever, and they're like buddies, that would be awesome.
Or like he's like something to do with Tony Jaa. I know they're not the same nationality, but it's like that would be cool too. Or something like that. How old is Hiroyuki Tagawa? Is he in his 70s?
He must be in his 70s by now, I think. Still looks great, though. He's still Shang Tsung. He'll always be my Shang Tsung.
Mm-hmm. It has begun.
James Lewis still around.
Of course he is. Absolutely.
He'd totally be in it, because he's like the go-to henchman in so many movies.
You know what? I'll take Ron Hall. You know who Ron Hall was? He's still Ron. I know him on Facebook. He was in Bloodsport 2. He was a phenomenal kicker. That guy was amazing. Probably still is. Don't get me wrong. I'm sorry, but it's like, I would like we could sit like Dale Apollo Cook. I loved him. It's like I could go in all day.
I mean, if they wanted to put sort of younger people in, stick in Alain Moussi. I like him.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, I was like, I had him. I was thinking of him too, and of course, he totally escaped my mind when we went on. Yes, Alain Moussi. Yeah, absolutely. My wife calls him the Moose Guy. It's like.
Cary Tagawa is 70.
Thank you.
Yeah, I thought it was bad. Yeah. Ever see on Balls of Fury? He was hilarious. Yes, I have that on DVD. Yes. It's hilarious. I love it.
Yes. But yeah, there are younger guys that can kick ass, and just because they're not Stallone or Lundgren, they tend to get thrown by the wayside when you talk about movies like this. And Alain Moussi is definitely one of those guys.
Yeah, Chad Michael Collins, I want to see in more movies. I mean, that guy needs to be in the MCU from the Sniper movies.
I got my signed pictures. They're all hanging on the wall, though. I can't get them right now. But oh my God, I had the greatest talk with him on my podcast. We were talking about his last movie that came out, Sniper. What was it called? Legacy. And I fucking love him. He's freaking awesome. He's awesome. And he does really, and he's got the physique too, man. He was showing himself on Facebook the other day. I'm like, holy shit, you've been working out. It's
like James Hong as Uncle Benny.
I thought James Hong was dead. Like shooting out. I know, but I looked him up on the IMDb. I'm like, oh my God, he's old, but he's still kicking.
Lou's fight scene with Speakman in Perfect Weapon was good. Yeah, everything in Perfect Weapon was good. It's total classic. Still my favorite Speakman movie.
That's the movie that got me to go. I mean, Norris got me into martial arts, but Speakman's movie got me to take it. The next day, I went to a Kempo school, and the rest was history. So yeah, I owe everything to that movie, and going and seeing it on that Friday night. I remember it to this day. I went with my buddies, and they all loved it too. But I'm the only one that took it to heart, and went right in and started doing it afterwards. So.
I did martial arts briefly. I did some Muay Thai boxing and karate, but I sucked at both of them, so I stopped. And now I have digestive problems and can't do any fighting at all.
I get it. No worries. But yeah, I mean, that was when I loved what I was doing, because I did it as a job. It was freaking awesome. But again, the market dried up and stuff like that. So and then but yeah, best time of my life. And I was teaching cops, soldiers, all kinds of good shit. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. But yeah, Speakman, I not that I'll probably ever watch this, but you changed my life. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it will never happen, but would love to see Seagal in it. But I mean, he's like, I got too many issues.
Never say never, Owen. Never say never.
He's starring in shit movies and being dubbed over.
But
there. So.
This could be his comeback. You never know. It's like he could. You never know.
Yeah. Bolo,
is he making anything? Does he have anything new coming out? I haven't looked him up on the IMDb lately. With COVID, I didn't know.
I don't know. Yeah. Ralph Macchio is LaRusso. Sima, yes. Partner James Hong, yeah.
Hell, William Zabka and having been named Johnny. His name's Johnny. Thomasine Griffith. There's another one.
Griffith, yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, Johnny William Zabka. I mean, he's in like the Shoot Fighter movies and everything. So.
And I got to talk to him at New York Comic Con, and I asked him about Shoot Fighter. I mean, it's on YouTube. I put it on my YouTube channel, and I got to talk to him. It was freaking awesome. I asked him how it was to work with Bolo Young, and he told this great story about how shooting Shoot Fighter and Shoot Fighter 2, like Bolo Young would always use an interpreter. You'd always be speaking, his native tongue. And then like the last day of filming, William walked up to him and was like, he was like, "Oh, it was great working with you." And he was like, "Thank you." So he's like, "Oh shit, you can speak English all the time."
He did all the time. Yeah.
I was like,
Bolo should be. I would love to see Bolo in it.
Bolo Young. Yep.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that to flip it on his head, the way Bolo is known to be a villain, let's have him play a good guy. Do that. So.
But I would totally take Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, there was things people saying like they wanted like his twin brother. I would do that too. Like, because I would totally be on board for that. Why not? it's like you do like a double impact thing. But it's the good guy brothers, they're bad guy brothers.
Yeah. I have to make up for the mistakes my brother made. So I've had the training.
I want to make some money. It's like,
So
I want my money's worth.
Which we never really got with X2. I mean, there were moments with that final fight scene. I mean, when you think about it, Stallone was like nearly 70 and Van Damme was in the like 50s or 60s or whatever. So it was a pretty good fight considering their age, considering they're probably like, whenever they're fighting. I mean, I'm tired going up the stairs. Anyway,
I was excited that Van Damme did his patented helicopter kick. I was like, because he hadn't done that for years, and then all of a sudden he just broke it out, and we were like, ooh. So I thought that was cool. That was the best part.
Yeah. It's funny though, like the Expendables movies, somebody said this before, I think probably on the last Expendables podcast we did a few weeks ago, when they said the Expendables was my Avengers, and I was like, yeah, that was me as well. Like when I went to see the Avengers, I was like, yeah, it was fine. But for me, the Expendables was what I was wanting. These were my heroes growing up. I was watching these guys because, like, I'm not much of a comic book guy. I mean, I've read some, like a whole bunch of Batman comics. So it's Batman and the Punisher. That's pretty much it. I really enjoyed Van Damme's series, Jean-Claude Van Johnson. Yeah, that was pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I would have liked a season 2. I thought they kind of didn't really know what they were doing with the tone, though. Or like 1 minute.
Yeah, it was kind of going back and forth. Yeah, I know. I think that's why it got canceled, because they kind of like didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, and that was what they did with like The Last Mercenary. Which did you ever watch that?
I haven't watched it yet. I'm sorry.
You're not missing anything. I think it's probably the worst film he's ever done. I think it's the worst.
Oh, and
ever
I
done.
think you killed that movie for me. I think sometime down the road I'm gonna probably suck it up and watch it. But I just I know I'm gonna just be like, oh my god. And then here's the thing: like when I watch a bad movie, when it's over, I automatically go through my head, what else could I have watched in this last 2 hours?
What else could I possibly have done other than watch this? Yeah. So yeah. So it'll be interesting to see who they cast for the upcoming movie, and if this is like the final one, or is it the beginning of some spin-offs they're going to do. I mean, I would love to see the individual characters in movies. I mean, imagine like Dolph Lundgren on a movie on his own, like his character. You have Gunnar on his own mission or whatever, because Gunnar is one of my favorite characters, and that's why the first one is my favorite, because Dolph Lundgren had the biggest part in it, and he had lots to do, and
he had the best story arc. He had the best story arc.
Yeah, there was some genuine story in it, but yeah. And yes, in answer to this question, even worse than Double Team. Double Team is Citizen Kane in comparison to
The Last Mercenary.
But again,
I watched.
At least Double Team is an action movie. That's the thing. The Last Mercenary isn't an action movie. It's a goofy French slapstick comedy with a couple of.
I still watch it to this day. You can't beat the ending where they're fighting in a minefield, and then there's a tiger, and then when the explosions happen, they're behind a Coca-Cola machine.
They use a vending machine to save their lives. How can you not like that? That's art. That's art. That's cinema right there.
I love it, and like all the fires going around it, like this Coke machine was like fireproof. It's like
I know, you're like, what? Yeah, Hulk Hogan and Mr. T, they should both show up. Do you remember the Mr. T cereal?
Yes.
I found a commercial to it recently, like Mr. T cereal, it's cool, and he just kept.
I remember
it's cool.
I remember a Saturday morning cartoon, for God's sakes. I mean, they did a Mr. T cartoon.
Mr. T Adventures. Yeah. Expendables HBO or Amazon series, Solo Adventures. Yes, and then for the season finale, you have them all team up for. There you go. Shit writes yourself.
That's what you can do, Owen. Like do it like an Amazon or Netflix thing where they have like separate things, and then do like a Avengers thing where then at the end they team up again and
take down the bad guy or whatever. Cool carnage. And
I'm not gonna lie, because I enjoy streaming, because like I said, it's hard for me to get to the movie theaters anymore. Like this weekend Shang-Chi comes out and I want to watch it, but it's like I got to sit there and how am I gonna go see this movie? It's
That's
like
yesterday's
but it's like if it would have went to Disney Plus like Black Widow, I would have been like, oh, okay, but it's
That's
not.
too bad. I guess we'll watch it. Yeah, I know. So on the plus side, and some non-related news, I am not going to be back at the office full time now, so I'll get to continue doing these for a while yet. So once again, the Action League will keep going for a little while. So.
Well, unfortunately, I don't work at home. I gotta my breaks and lunches. I'm sitting there. I go through my phone in the break room, and I'm like, okay, what can I do real quick? So that's how I do my website anymore. And then it's like at night when my wife goes to work, it's like, okay, it's like so.
Yeah, it's your me time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And normally I roll my eyes with just team movies like Marvel's Guardians, but Expendables makes sense. Yeah, Expendables does, because you actually would get to know the characters a bit better. I mean, I would love to see an episode or two focusing on Jet Li. I mean, he's always just sort of in the background. There's a couple of fight scenes, and it disappears. I always felt they didn't really do enough of them. Once again, Jet Li and Dolph Lundgren had this great stuff in the first movie, and then they were kind of pushed aside for the later ones.
Well, Jet Li had his health problems too.
Yeah,
that's why he couldn't really do this. So that was unfortunate, because he might have done more. I don't know. So
yeah, I mean, Jackie Chan was meant to be in the third one. I remember saying that whenever I've read the original script to Expendables 3, and he was supposed to play a character called 3D, and then he ended up being replaced by Antonio Banderas. And although he's playing the annoying character, I still like him just because I love Antonio Banderas, and I hope he returns as well. Yeah.
What I talked about in our Expendables thing is like his character had a great arc though, because he was kind of goofy, but then he had this seriousness to him, and like with his team when he's talking about his team, and how they all died and everything. It's kind of tragic if you think about it. because he's the one that has to live with the thought that all of his buddies got killed, but yet he did not.
That's
the worst thing.
Mechanism. Yeah,
that's the worst thing for a warrior. It's like The Last Survivor. The Mark Wahlberg movie that was based on a true story.
Yeah.
He was the only one that came out of that alive, and it's like that's the worst thing for a soldier. It's like to know that you lived, but your buddies didn't, because you would trade with places with them in a heartbeat. So yeah, so that's really. So I thought Antonio Banderas. I thought his character was pretty decent in the third one.
Yeah, he didn't bother me at all. I mean, I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, he's kind of annoying. I can see what they're doing though. But then I've watched the movie a few times since then, and I've actually really grown to enjoy him. And I guess his third movie has its problems, but I do still enjoy it. So that's a great stream, guys. I got to get going for the night. Have a good one, troops. Cheers, G-Man. We shall chat soon. We'll do streaming the next week or two. I think the time has come. I think for the next stream, maybe next Friday night, it needs to be on Deadly Ground. People. I mean,
I not that I need an excuse to break that one out, but yeah, absolutely, I love that.
I need to rewatch it.
It's the only eco-friendly movie that blows shit up.
Yeah, I mean, like Sean's stories are brilliant about it, because like he watched it in school once, and I saw it Deadly Ground like 3 times in the cinema or something. So
I saw it twice, and then as soon as it came out on DVD, I bought it. Like that was when Seagal, and like I said, we talked about Seagal in the past. I still enjoy his movies, even though as bad as
I'll always watch them just because I grew up watching them, and it was like my dad or my brother would take me to go see the movies, and we'd usually laugh at them. Like I remember we went to see Under Siege 2, which is the best comedy of all time, because Casey fucking Ryback, who's that? Who's my instructor at Fort Bragg? I mean, it's just all of these like amazing pieces of dialogue. And we went to see it, and I remember when we went to see Under Siege 2, it was just me, my brother in the theater, and there's these 2 other guys, and then the end credits comes up, and it's like, oh brother, he's standing at his brother's grave, whatever, and all he just heard was shite coming from the audience, and that was it. So that was funny. So yeah, I definitely think on Deadly Ground will be fun, and then maybe just talk about some other Seagal things, because Seagal is endlessly entertaining and fun to talk about. So I feel that is a logical place to go.
He's endless material with him, and we could go on for 5 hours with that.
You probably will.
But the thing is, we got to talk about just one movie, because I have no time to watch like he's got so many movies. But like we should always do we should always come back to him every so often, be like, okay,
we haven't covered it yet.
Yeah,
I feel like we need to. I want to do that, and then I want to do one on Silent Rage, because I haven't watched that for a while, and we haven't covered a Chuck Norris movie. So let's do that too. We'll do that at some point in the coming weeks. But I'm supposed to be doing the Mechanic retrospective with my buddy John Cross. So John, I will be in touch with you soon about that, and we'll do that. It's our crossover with the Afternoon Diner.
I was going to shoot out the American Ninja movies, because the first one just had its anniversary yesterday. So I was like,
yeah. Well, we are supposed to be talking to somebody, but I'll have to follow up about that, remember? So we'll do that. So that's the other one we have to do, yeah. So, I suppose it doesn't really need to be a series, but yeah, Sam Furstenberg, we're supposed to be having him on a live stream, because he agreed to do it a few weeks ago, but I need to actually speak to him to confirm a day and time, so we can talk American Ninja and Avenging Force and things like that. So we'll try and set that. We'll probably be on a weekend, maybe a Saturday or Sunday, so we'll see.
I still can't believe I've interviewed him twice for my site. Not once, but twice. It's so freaking awesome.
Isn't yours about it? No, there's nothing silent about it, unfortunately.
Sunday at work, I totally had a blow up at work because it was so bad, and I've only been there for 3 months, and I kind of was trying to keep my cool. It's like it was silent rage all the way.
Oh yeah, Marked for Death and Hard to Kill were my go-to Seagal films growing up. Yes, they're like Hard to Kill is another one with endless material, which we'll talk about that soon too.
Marked for Death is insane though, because it's just so over the top, how many Jamaicans get killed in that movie?
I know. Wait, see, that was just after they got bored of having the Yakuza as the villains. Then they had the Jamaicans, the posses, for a while.
But the best part is Basil Wallace, who was also in Rapid Fire. You can't even understand what the hell he's saying.
Well, I watch every movie with subtitles anyway because of the hearing aid. So therefore, I now understand what everybody's saying. But it's funny when you watch movies with subtitles how much more dialogue you pick up, though.
Yes, I know.
Like particularly in
Absolutely.
Christopher Nolan movies, like whenever you watch a Christopher Nolan movie, it's like and that's just all you hear, and that's just the music in the background. And I'm like, what? So yeah, Christopher Nolan movies need subtitles.
Yeah.
That's pretty much my impression of a Christopher Nolan movie.
It's funny because it's true.
Yes, maybe my finishing line. Yeah, hope you weren't triplets. Yeah, so we got to cover some Scal definitely. So yeah, I think next week it's time for On Deadly Ground. We'll do that maybe next Friday, unless something else comes up, and I think that will do it. But yeah, there's not going to be a stream this Friday. This is our stream for this week. I'm at the office on Friday, so I won't be home in time. So, but yeah, we'll do that next week. So are we all expendable out? Does anybody else have any questions they want to ask, or any other more fan suggestions, or? Give it a second. Ron, come back. Where did you go?
It's gone silent.
There were so many responses that I got lost in the ether. I'm sorry, Ron.
Yeah.
No
more. It's gone silent. Radio silent.
Tom Hardy is a mumbler. That should be the character he plays, is the mumbler. We have the giggler in Death Wish. Have Tom Hardy as the mumbler.
I'm excited about his movie Havoc that he's doing for Netflix. I'm excited about that.
Cool. Yeah, we'll be interested. Although on the other hand, it is a Netflix.
It sounds better than Venom 2. Let me get that.
And maybe Sweet Girl. You got to wear your shirt for Justice Night. Yeah, I would, but I actually don't have it anymore because the artwork came off it.
That's the thing. I don't have any. Like, I'm always wearing I was like, I'm doing Expendables. I'm like, I'm wearing my Punisher because I have no shirts that go along with any of these.
Where's my? Wait till you see this shirt, and I can't believe. Oh shit! There it is. I can't remember if I showed you this. I can't believe I have this shirt and I didn't wear it for a Rambo retrospective. Got it.
That's it. Ooh.
That is my shirt.
That's a nice shirt.
White War.
Oh my God. That's awesome. That's probably like the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. So I think I might have to buy my new, because I used to have a shirt and I said, anybody seen Richie? And there's a picture of so I might just re-buy it. And
you know why Richie killed Bobby Lupo? It's like that's the best scene
nobody upstairs. So yeah, that's going to be another good one. So yeah, all right. Well, I'm going to go. I don't know about anybody else. So good chat, chaps, and we shall chat probably next Friday then. So for On Deadly Ground, and Ron, come back. You're invited, Ron, if you want to jump on the show with us next week.
Absolutely.
Because you're cool. So, all right. See you later, guys. Cheers. Bye.
Good night.